The diner was always loud at breakfast, but that morning, the sound of laughter cut deeper than any noise Emma had ever heard. She stood by the counter, clutching a coffee pot in her trembling hands, as the group of well-dressed customers at table 6 whispered, snickered, and looked at her like she was invisible, like she wasn't even human. Their words, coated with sugar but sharpened like glass, sliced through her smile. "Guess she couldn't afford college," one of them murmured. "She's probably stuck here forever," another laughed. "Poor thing, must be nice serving people who actually made something of their lives." Emma forced her lips into a smile, though her throat burned with unshed tears. She refilled their coffee, thanked them politely, and walked back to the kitchen before the tears could betray her. But they came anyway, hot, fast, and relentless. She leaned against the counter, hiding behind a stack of dirty dishes, trying to catch her breath. She wanted to disappear, to be anyone else, anywhere else. If you believe kindness still matters in this world, if you believe that broken hearts can be healed by compassion and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stories like this remind us that one act of kindness can change everything. Emma Turner was 26, and life hadn't been kind to her lately. 2 years ago, she had dreams of becoming a nurse, saving lives, and building something beautiful out of her small-town roots. But life had other plans. Her mother fell sick, bills piled up, and Emma dropped out of school to care for her. She worked double shifts at Millie's Diner, a cozy corner spot in Willow Creek, Ohio. Her mother passed away quietly one stormy night, and ever since, Emma felt like a ghost living inside her own skin. The diner became her whole world, the smell of coffee, the clink of dishes, the endless small talk. She smiled for customers while her soul stayed quiet inside. That cruel laughter from table 6 wasn't new. People sometimes said careless things, forgetting that the waitress who poured their coffee had her own dreams and scars. But that day, it hit harder. Maybe because Emma was tired. Maybe because she hadn't heard a kind word in weeks. She cried silently in the restroom, wiped her tears, and returned to work with the same soft smile, like she'd been trained to wear armor made of politeness. Later that afternoon, when the lunch rush had slowed, a man walked in with a little girl holding his hand. He looked like he hadn't slept well in days. Dark circles under kind blue eyes, a few days of stubble, and a quiet sadness that mirrored her own. The girl, maybe 6 or 7, skipped beside him with messy pigtails and a gap-toothed grin. "Daddy, can I have pancakes for lunch?" she asked. "Of course, sweetheart," he said softly, smiling at her like she was the only light in the room. Emma approached their booth, still shaken from the morning but putting on her usual warmth. "Hey there," she said, voice soft but sincere. "Pancakes and syrup for the little one?" The girl nodded eagerly. The father smiled politely. "And just coffee for me, thank you." As Emma turned to walk away, the girl tugged on her sleeve. "You look sad," she said innocently. Emma froze. No one had noticed. Not once that day. She smiled weakly. "I'm okay, sweetie. Just a long morning." The father looked up, concern flickering in his eyes. "Riley," he said gently, "let's not bother the nice lady." But Emma shook her head. "It's okay," she said. "She's sweet." She brought their food, and the girl, Riley, chattered endlessly about her school, her missing tooth, and how she wanted to be a doctor when she grew up. "Just like my mom wanted to be," she said suddenly. Her father looked down, clearing his throat. There was something fragile in his silence. Emma felt it instantly, like they shared the same invisible wound. Over the next hour, as the diner emptied out, they talked more. The father's name was Michael Evans. He was a mechanic, widowed for almost 3 years. His wife, Emily, had died from leukemia, leaving him to raise Riley alone. "Some days I still don't know if I'm doing it right," he admitted quietly, looking into his coffee. "But I try to make her laugh. I think that's enough." Emma listened, her heart softening. It had been so long since anyone spoke with that kind of honesty. When the bill came, Michael added a note on the napkin. "Thank you for being kind. People notice that more than you think." Emma read it after they left and pressed the napkin to her chest, tears filling her eyes again. But this time, they didn't sting. They healed. The next few days, Michael and Riley became regulars. Every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, they came for pancakes and coffee. Riley would draw pictures for Emma, silly stick figures with hearts and flowers, while Michael listened to her talk about her mother, her dreams, her regrets. He never judged. He just listened, with the kind of patience that feels like sunlight after a long storm. Slowly, Emma began to laugh again. Not the forced, polite laughter she used with customers, but real laughter, the kind that shakes the dust off your heart. She found herself looking forward to those afternoons, to the sound of Riley's giggles and Michael's gentle voice. One rainy evening, the diner was nearly empty when Michael walked in alone. His jacket was soaked and his expression was tired. "Riley's got the flu," he explained. "I just needed to grab something for her." Emma made him hot soup to take home, wrapped it carefully, and refused to let him pay. "It's on me," she said. "Tell Riley I hope she feels better soon." He looked at her, his eyes shining with quiet gratitude. "You know," he said softly, "Emily used to do that. Take care of everyone, even when she had nothing left to give." Emma smiled sadly. "Maybe she passed that kindness on to you." For a moment, they just stood there, two people broken in different ways, somehow fitting together in the quiet. Days turned into weeks. The gossiping customers came and went, but Emma no longer cared. Their words no longer cut the same way because she had found something stronger, kindness that rebuilt what cruelty had shattered. She started taking online classes again, one subject at a time, determined to finish her nursing degree. Michael encouraged her, helped her study between shifts, sometimes bringing Riley to the diner with her coloring books so they could all spend time together. It wasn't love at first sight. It was something slower, deeper, born out of mutual respect and pain shared in silence. Michael never rushed her, never expected anything. He simply showed up, with steady hands, gentle words, and a quiet understanding that love doesn't always need to be declared to be real. One evening, as the sun melted behind the diner's windows, Emma sat outside with Michael after closing. The air smelled like rain and coffee. She told him about the day those customers had humiliated her, how their words still echoed sometimes. Michael listened, jaw tightening, eyes filled with empathy. "You don't deserve that," he said firmly. "People like that don't see your worth, but that doesn't make it smaller." Emma looked at him, tears glistening. "You and Riley, you've been my reminder that there's still good left in the world." He smiled, that same soft, honest smile she'd grown to trust. "And you've reminded me that even broken hearts can start beating again." As he spoke, a warm breeze brushed against them, carrying the scent of fresh rain and something new, something like hope. Emma realized then that kindness doesn't always come wrapped in grand gestures. Sometimes it arrives quietly, with a coffee cup, a shared laugh, and the gentle patience of someone who refuses to let you stay broken. Months passed. Emma finished her classes and finally earned her nursing certification. Michael and Riley were there at her small graduation ceremony, clapping louder than anyone. When she walked across the stage, she looked into the crowd and saw Riley waving a handmade sign that read, "We're proud of you, Miss Emma." Tears streamed down her cheeks as she realized how far she'd come, from a girl who cried behind a diner counter to a woman who believed in herself again. After the ceremony, Michael handed her a small box. Inside was a silver heart pendant. "It's not much," he said, "but Riley wanted to give you something. She says it's for your new beginning." Emma couldn't speak. She just hugged him tightly, feeling the steady rhythm of his heart against hers. For the first time in years, she wasn't alone. Life didn't suddenly become perfect, but it became real, warm, and full of meaning. Emma continued to work part-time at the diner, but she also started volunteering at the local clinic, helping others the way she always dreamed. She, Michael, and Riley often spent weekends together. Picnics in the park, movie nights, laughter that filled the spaces where sorrow used to live. And one day, as the three of them sat by the river, watching the sunset, Riley looked up and said, "Daddy, do you think Mom would like Miss Emma?" Michael smiled, squeezing Emma's hand. "I think she'd love her," he said quietly. Emma's eyes filled with tears, not the painful kind, but the healing kind, the kind that come when you realize life can still surprise you, even after it's broken you. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more stories of hope, kindness, and second chances to life. Before we end, I'd love for you to comment below. Do you believe one act of kindness can change someone's life? I'd love to hear your thoughts. As the screen fades, the final image lingers. Emma walking out of the diner at sunset, her apron folded over her arm, Michael and Riley waiting for her at the corner. The laughter that once hurt her is now replaced by a little girl's giggle and the quiet peace of knowing she's finally home. Because sometimes, the words that break your heart aren't the end of your story, they're just the beginning of one where kindness writes the healing.